I heard about this fellow that was playing golf. And he was on the first tee, and he stepped up and he tees that ball up and he busts that sucker about 200 yards straight and about 150 yards to the right. Well, one of the pros was riding with him and he said, well, I just know that we're not going to be able to find out. Well, let's just go ahead. And so he teed up again and he hit another and they went out. And as they were putting out on the first green, they saw this cart coming down at breakneck speed, and it was another one of the assistant pros there, and he was really riding down there, and he came up to the green and he said, who hit that horrendous slice that went all the way over? And the governor's wife was playing golf with me, and she was in the cart, we were in the wood, and it hit her right up beside the head. Now, who hit that horrendous slice? And this guy very timidly said, I did. The other assistant pro said, well, I want you to know that I've talked to the governor and he is enormously upset. I mean, he is furious. And the guy said, well, what do you think I should do? He said, well, you should play it a little more off your left toe and strengthen your grip. That's what you ought to do. And sometimes things come out a little different than we had thought. Okay, now, to maintain the right mental attitude, that's the key. You do it by reversing the way you get out of bed. No, I'm not talking about getting out of bed backwards, but you know the way most people get out of bed, the alarm clock, misnamed, it really is an opportunity clock. I mean, if you can hear it, that gives you an opportunity to get up and go, and if you can't hear it, that might mean you done got up and gone. And depending on what you believe, that can be very bad. That alarm clock for these people sounds off, and they're going to reach over and they finally find it and they turn it off and then they slap their face and said, hon, is it already time to get up? Oh, it seemed like we just lay down. I'm going to go to bed earlier tonight, I guarantee you. I know, now, no, I haven't been in your home visiting. That just, that's just the way a whole lot of people get up. Now, instead of doing that, let's reverse the way you get out of bed. The opportunity clock sounds off for you. You reach over and shut it off. I think that is very important. And you sit straight up on the side of your bed and you slap your hands and you say, oh boy, it's a great day to get up and go to work today. Now, I want you to get the picture. There you are, 2/3 asleep. Your hair is all down in your eyes. You're trying to slap your hands, and sometimes you hit it, and sometimes you're missing. And you're saying, oh, boy, it's a good day to get up and go to work. And, hey, friend, that ain't the way you feel at all, I'm telling you. But let me tell you something. You see, when the clock goes off, you do not decide to get up. You decided that when you set the clock. What you now decide is, how am I going to get up? Am I going to get up with excitement and enthusiasm? Or am I going to get up looking like the picture on my driver's license? You gotta, you gotta make a decision as to how you're going to get up. Now, despite the fact that you might not really feel that good, you are up. And that's where you had made the decision to be the night before. And then you go in the shower, and while you're taking that shower, you do a little singing. And I know what a lot of people's voices are, but it's amazing what will happen. You see, what you're doing is something that is psychologically very sound. When you sow an action, and that's what you're doing. You don't think about it, you just do it. It's an instinct, it's a reflection when you do this a while. You hop on the side of the bed, you sow an action, you reap a habit. You sow a habit, you reap a character. You sow a character, you reap a destiny. A number of years ago, I had a lady, 85 years old, say to me later, she said, when you told me that, I thought that was the silliest thing I had ever heard a grown man say. 85 years old, and you want me to get up on the side of the bed and slap my hands like a child? Why, she said, that's silly, and I knew it was. But I lay down that night, and I thought to myself, well, I do live by myself. And nobody, and nobody's going to know about it but me. And she said, why not? I mean, you're only, young at once in your life, and she's one of these people that qualifies as being a youngster. So the next morning, that alarm clock sounded. She said, I sat up on the side of the bed, and she said, I drew back to slap my hand, but I couldn't do it. I got so tickled, and I laughed at myself all day long. She had a wonderful day. How many of you ever participated in organized team sports? Can I see your hands, please? How many of you ever went out for practice when you just flat did not want to go out for practice? Can I see your hands? You ever get out there and say, well, the coach said he's going to can me if I ever missed another practice. I'm out here, but I ain't going to do anything. He ain't watching me anyhow. And then after you've been out there about 10 minutes, you say, well, as long as I'm here. How many of you ever went out for practice feeling awful and 10 minutes later felt good? Can I see your hands? You see, a lot of people say, well, when I get motivated, I'll do it. Hey, friend, you got it backwards. Do it, and you'll feel like doing it. You'll be motivated then to do it. You take that action is what I'm talking about. Start the day like that. Do I do this every day? Nope. Did I used to do it? Yep. Why don't I do it now? I don't need to. But let me tell you something. If I get a late wake-up call somewhere, and then I got to get in a dead run. Man, I hop up, I slap my hand, I say, yippee, and I head for the shower. And I mean, it really does get you moving a whole lot faster, all right? Now, if you've gotten up early enough, you then need to make a phone call. Call somebody whom you love, admire, and respect. Call that person and simply say to them, you know, I've been thinking about you, and I just wanted you to know how much I appreciate you as an individual. You're one of the people that's had a big influence on my life. You really are an asset to your community. You're a credit to the profession you're in. Just wanted to call you and say thank you for being my friend. Now, something happens there. First of all, your friend is tremendously encouraged. But second, you're inspired. You see, psychologically and theologically, you're on sound ground. Physiologically, you're on sound ground. You see, physiologically, what happens is that when you do this early in the morning, it jumpstarts the flow of serotonin in that brain of yours, and that's the feel-good neurotransmitter. You feel good about yourself when you do something nice for somebody else. Got a speaker friend. He heard me go through this one time, and he thought to himself, I'm going to give that a shot. I ain't going to do it in the morning, but I will do it at night. Every Saturday night, then, what he does is he calls somebody whom he hasn't talked to in some little while, and he'll just call them and tell them how much he appreciates them. And he said, Zig, it's been one of the most gratifying things in my life. He said the first time I did it, it took me 45 minutes to get that dude off the telephone. I mean, he was so excited and so encouraged. Now, what are we doing? We're again putting that other person as in an important position. They feel good about it, and you feel good about it too. Make that telephone call. It will make a difference in their lives. Now, you know, I've talked a lot about values. I've talked about you can have everything in life you want if you'll just help enough other people get what they want. In a recent issue of Fortune magazine, they listed the 10 wealthiest people in the world. One of the men they listed was a Chinese gentleman from Hong Kong who is worth $5,900,000,000. Now, he's the 9th wealthiest man in the world. He has an interesting philosophy. Incidentally, he got his start selling plastic toys on the street. Has 2 sons, and he's taught them the same philosophy. He is a deal maker. He does joint ventures with people. And he's taught them and has always believed that if 10% of the deal for financing it is a fair share, but you could get 12%, take 9. He said the reason that is good is, number one, it gives them a better chance of making it, so it makes your investment safer. Number 2, word will get around, and instead of getting one 12% deal, you'll get a dozen 9% deals. You see, you really can have everything in life you want if you'll just help enough other people get what they want. It really does work.